Bonjour and welcome to French Action. Today I'm sharing my writing tools with you to help you to improve your writing skills in French. Vous êtes prêts? C'est parti! A tool is a device that helps you to accomplish a task. In our case, we want to write correctly in French. Let's see what I have in my toolbox, ma boîte à outils. Basics first. Well, when we want to make sentences, everything evolves around the action that we call the verb. And the verb is important because it tells you about the action, but it also tells you when the action takes place, and that's why we have the tense. So when we talk about the action, we are referring to the verb, which is going to be put in a particular tense, whether it's present, past, or future. But we also have to think of the person or persons with an S doing that action. So when we talk about SVO, we are referring to subject, verb, and object. So we know about the verb, which is the action, the subject, which is the person or persons doing the action, and the object actually receives the action, which is done by the subject. And that forms what we would call a simple sentence. Now, a simple sentence can become a little bit more complex by adding another verb, probably another subject, and another object. So what are the tools? Register tools. What is it exactly? When you use the language register, you use it according to a particular context. For example, if you have to write an essay, you know that you'll have to use a formal language, whereas you will use a more spoken language in the dialogue. And also, you have to think about accuracy. And that's the reason why we keep telling you, check your spelling, because we want to ensure that you are using the right spelling, but also the right words. So you need to select the right words. We also have to think of the social tools. For example, am I going to use tu or vous to you when I talk to you? Am I going to say monsieur or madame? Am I going to use the right greeting, bonjour or bonsoir? All these is part of it as well. The grammar tools are very important and they have to be used according to the rules. Am I using the right tense? Am I putting the right agreement? Am I using the right preposition? These are all the questions you have to ask yourself when you write a sentence. But writing many sentences with no coherence is still no good. So you have to link, sometimes you'll have to link some words or some sentences. For example, you use et for and when you want to link. If you want to explain something, you might use because, which is parce que in French. You might want to list ideas. First of all, secondly, thirdly, for example, which is premièrement, deuxièmement, troisièmement. And you may also want to connect one paragraph to another. And in this case, you will have to use what we call connectors. So for example, you might say however, or on the other hand, so cependant, en revanche, and of course there's other connectors. And to make your text coherent, you have to make sure that you use the punctuation, that you use the right punctuation. Let's look at an example where punctuation is key. Arrête Pierre. Here there is no comma and it means arrest Pierre. But if I say arrête Pierre, it's like saying stop it Pierre. This is a different meaning. So what about the descriptive tools? Descriptive tools are very important. It's a bit like makeup. When you wear makeup, you're really you're highlighting some features. Okay, I hope you agree with me. So you're putting some colors, for example, with a lipstick and so on. Well, in a piece of writing, we do the same. So we want to provide more details. Example, la voiture a heurté la moto. I'm just saying here, the car hit the motorbike. All right, what about this one? La voiture rouge a heurté la moto. So here I give the color of the car, the red car. And red is an adjective because it's describing the noun. The noun is la voiture. So here I'm adding a color, a bit like the makeup. What about this one? La voiture rouge a violemment heurté la moto. So this time, the detail is not with la voiture, but with the action. It was a violent action. Okay, so this time I'm using what we call an adverb because I'm adding the information to the verb, which is heurté in this particular sentence. So description is very important, especially when you want to write a story. If you have to write some news, this is how you can make your writing more interesting by adding adjectives and adverbs. And you can place an emphasis. Look at those two sentences. Il est rentré chez lui furieux. Furieux, il est rentré chez lui. So in the second sentence, you can see the emphasis, which is placed here, by using furieux right at the beginning of the sentence, followed by a comma. And this is very common in French. Creativity in writing is very important, and guess what? Examiners really look for it. And if you are very creative, you're more likely to be rewarded for it because your work will be unique. It's not like something you would have learned by heart and then written. So that's the reason why you have to think of creativity. And the way you do that, you can use expressions. So in this case, you have to learn a few expressions or idioms. And also what you can do is to use onomatopoeia, which is really the use of sounds. So for example, you could just say il est tombé dans l'eau versus il est tombé plouf dans l'eau. So when we hear plouf, we can really imagine the fall because we know that it makes a sound. If you fall into the water, we're going to hear some sound, and you are in a position to really add this sound by putting plouf in French. So think about that. So let's recap. I have prepared a little table for you. On the left, I put the tools, and on the right, what your writing should have. So for the register, think about whether or not it's going to be formal or informal. And also if it's going to be colloquial or slang and so on. And you need to remember to spell your words correctly. For the social, you need to use the right forms of address. Is it a tu and a vous? And also, if you can remember what I told you about, the greetings and so on. Grammar, you need to remember what tense am I using, what agreements do I have to add, and what prepositions am I going to use. So think about all this. To be coherent, you have to use the right linking words so that you get good transitions, and also don't forget your punctuation. The descriptive tools, remember, it's all about the adverbs and the adjectives to give or to provide more information and to add some color. That's what I would say, some color to your writing. And to be a little bit creative, you can use expressions and idioms in your writing. And when you reach a higher level, you can have puns, which are play on words, metaphors, and so on, but we're not there as yet. That's it for me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe. Au revoir!